We have fought for 83 years in our federal courts, our state courts, our local courts. And when we fight hard, we win.
And the fact that the court not only found that Black voters in Alabama deserve representation, but that the Voting Rights Act remains constitutional is a historic and significant win that will reverberate for years.
We won in the district court, we made our way up to the Supreme Court, and everyone had to agree that something wrong was happening and that Black people's voices needed to be heard.
You know, we will continue to fight and to lift up what the Supreme Court said, what the Northern District of Alabama said, and what the law of the land is.
We will be back in the court in October, fighting for another district where Black people can elect a candidate of their choice in South Carolina.
And I am more than proud to represent Mr. Taiwan Scott and Plaintiff South Carolina State Conference of the NAACP at today's oral argument. And every election where our clients don't have their rights respected is one election too many.
We have lawsuits in Louisiana, Mississippi, everywhere.
The district court has ruled that we've proven our case. The Fifth Circuit last year ruled in our favor and allowed our case to go forward.
I've got to say, we can't only fight this battle on one front. We've also got to fight to fully restore and strengthen the Voting Rights Act.
In recent years, we've seen growing momentum for state voting rights acts, especially in the last 5 years.
Strong voting rights protections like these have been shown to decrease racial turnout disparities, to increase diversity in elected office.
Where you live should not dictate your access to the ballot and your access in this democracy.
We still have an ongoing role to play to make sure that democracy really is accessible to all and meets the full promise that all Americans, and especially Black Americans, deserve.
If police are consistently trying to gain access to Black and brown spaces without a warrant, we need to know that information so that policy solutions can be crafted.
Our law punishes people for what they do, not who they are, and that fundamental fairness aspect is absolutely critical here.
In July of 2020, the Legal Defense Fund, along with our co-counsel, filed a lawsuit on behalf of residents in a predominantly Black neighborhood in West Philadelphia.
On behalf of the LDF, I urge the City Council to reject funding for the Atlanta Public Safety Training Center, also known as Cop City.
On August 1st, a federal district court in Louisiana ruled on behalf of LDF's clients, Black students and parents in St. Martin Parish, in a school desegregation case that's gone on for decades.
What's at stake here is the rights of the children, the students at Baltimore City Public Schools, who for generations of students, they've attended schools in subpar facilities.
And we're challenging the Stop Woke Act, which is a bill that changes how certain subjects can be taught in schools.
I think there was a lot of terror in seeing what was happening in 2020, seeing the multiracial, multi-ethnic coalitions of people who really rallied around understanding more about anti-Blackness, understanding more about systemic racism. It seemed like a mass message went out. Wokeness is what we're targeting.
First, proponents of this legislation will claim they're not seeking to censor conversations about race. There is no need to guess how this proposal may harm education and specifically targets race.
DEI has its roots in the 1960s civil rights movement. It acknowledges that during the lifetime of members of this committee, our nation's laws permitted discrimination.
And so this is a direct attack on diverse faculty who in many ways reflect the changing demographics of the state of Texas.
And I heard also that Texas universities have had DEI for 20 years, right? So maybe we should do away with it. My question then is, how many years does it take to do away with 400 years of slavery?
This court today undermined one of the most important legal decisions that this country has ever known, if not the most important. Brown versus Board of Education, that the Legal Defense Fund had the privilege of litigating and winning in 1954.
What we need to do is have targeted efforts to ensure that students who are underrepresented and have been disadvantaged in terms of accessing higher education, especially select colleges and universities, have equal access.
And I think diversity and equity are things that we should never give up. And I'm so happy to join LDF in this fight.
I was blessed to have come into contact with LDF, who provided us with resources we couldn't possibly imagine.
Having Legal Defense Fund there as an advocate, as a force, it's greatly appreciated.
and I wouldn't change that for the world.
Oh, this is so wonderful.
Selma is the birthplace of voting rights for Black Americans. And so to come back every year, it's really a special time for all of us, something that we look forward to all year long.
All of the organizing and pushing, coalescing that you can do can make a difference.
And so that's why LDF is going to continue to show up in the courts, to educate the public and to advocate for the future that we know we deserve.
That is us positioning our power. We ask you to join us in this fight. Register to vote, become a poll worker, run for office, be part of the solution, and thank you for being here today.